stand in my way. It is slightly irritating, but here I stand and there they lay, defeated. Now to continue my genetic work. Now that I've helped them with their crisis or whatever they have going on, examining the COVID strain and genetics applications, its cellular development and process of genetic data extraction and adaptation are closely similar to the process of the replicant strain of the macabre or grey cloning process and its development from augmented molecular cellular mitosis into the fetal embryo stage. Now I am aware that there is an infestation contingency embedded within its genetic structure limiting 70 generations per clone template sample, and I will respect their rules here and concede to the fact that they know more and are better experienced than I am in this field. So I'll trust that their intentions are based on strictly professional reasons, as one being with a mind based upon scientific principles to another. So we shall begin with the 9-variant cycle stage development that is the foundation of the genetic augmentation sequence, beginning with the viral COVID bacteria. The first stage infects a host and adapts its genetic information through its RNA replicator strain it injects into the cell membrane. The infected cell joins the cluster of other cells infected by the viral bacteria, shutting down its immune response by masking its infection of the cell as it injects the RNA replicator, depositing the replication data while also extracting the cellular process within the RNA data it extracts and adapting its information in the next variant stage. In the next variant stage, the COVID virus establishes a cellular hive mind within the host through a linked communication between infected cells as it gathers the cellular data it has replicated and applies the qualities best suited to its defense. From this point, the bacteria is no longer a foreign entity within the host but has become a viral contingent. Once the viral contingent has infected a large quantity of hosts within an area and the virus begins to spread to the respiratory system, the infected tissue containing the viral cells begins to cause a deterioration of cellular structure which causes pockets of fluid to gather in the lungs. This is when the virus goes into its next phase as a variant that is contagious through airborne methods, as it both causes and adapts the pneumonia traits of viral infection. The next stage of the variant is a weaker version of the first stage, but it is not a bacteria this time but a viral contingent with its own process of cellular duplication and mitosis. It will be noticeably less lethal, but the danger lies in other viruses and diseases it comes into contact with within others' hosts. The virus, now airborne, spreads and duplicates the hive mind cellular communication and becomes linked with other hosts within the area as it continues to replicate and adapt all the cellular data through multiple hosts. The viral contingent will then enter one last phase before going into a dormant phase of major genetic development. A mutation that is like a cocoon phase of its development. First, it will change its variant stage and go from airborne to cross-species infection as it becomes contagious to other species. This is a short period as it will quickly go into a dormant cycle, housing itself someplace dark and damp and secluded from being disturbed. When it emerges from this dormant cycle, it will become lethal to all species it has previously infected and gathered its data from. It is in this stage that the final application of genetic augmentation is applied. If not used as a bioweapon, each variant stage would be met with an application of augmented genetic data it could replicate and build itself from, meeting each stage with the genetic data based within the host's cellular process it infected from stage to stage. First comes the DNA data needed to establish its development from bacteria to viral contingent to cellular mitosis when it adapts the means to cross-infect species. Once it enters its dormant phase, the final cross-species augmentation qualities are introduced through vaporous inoculation, allowing it to absorb and adapt the cellular data rather than direct cellular application. So with this species I'm developing, the first genetic data introduced would be the hereditary data embedded within the white-billed vulture. the roadrunner bird, and the great white shark, which would give us the velociraptor, the pterodactyl, and the genetic cellular immunodefense traits within the great white shark that allows them to even be immune to cancer. This data will be applied last, as it will carry over into the next genetic application phase later, but will become the foundation of the subject's cellular repair process, allowing augmentation and development without destroying the cell's structure during development. The next phase would apply the augmented traits building on the developed cellular duplication from the great white shark, adding the egg-eating snake, and any other additional traits you want the subject to develop. At the end of the 9th cycle, the virus will enter a plasmodic state of primordial life, centering itself within a body of dense water to substitute for the fetal embryo stage, but you can synthesize this process with an artificial environment to allow the plasmodial life form develop in an embryotic environment. Using such methods as enhanced cellular development solutions that increase the cellular development. In this stage, if you use enhanced development methods, you will want to use binaural sound wave technology or other similar methods to influence life-sustaining instructions that will embed themselves into the rapidly developing tissues as it develops its process of sustaining its body's life functions. This can be used again in an altered, more advanced form to embed neural instructions as the brain begins to develop, giving it the capacity for memory retention and early personality traits as it develops up until 3 years after its birth cycle has finished, further enhancing its skills. But be aware, the more you use this neural interference after conscious has developed, the more you increase the possibility of mental imbalance to develop, leading to psychosis and violent tendencies. This specific species I'm working on will already be naturally aggressive and predatory because of the great white shark genetic data, but this will only serve its main developmental purpose as a cloned bioweapon. Now, for aesthetic purposes, we can substitute the phase of its development into an airborne viral contingent by creating an inoculation method by inserting the bacteria into the lungs or esophagus of a subject host, creating its own and solely produced sac of seal atmosphere environment within the host, bypassing the airborne contamination phase and keeping it within the sealed atmosphere of the developing.
Connection established.
Strong, the sacrifice will carry on.
without great sacrifice. Give us everything, prepare all you can. Fear no evil, become more than just a man.